All right, looks like the stream's already up, so that's awesome. So let's get started. So really excited to have both Adam and Malone here from the mint.fun team. I know a lot of people this weekend are going to be building NFT projects, so I can't wait to get through this chat and have this as a resource for people to build with as they finish up this weekend. Yeah, I guess I'll just get out of the way, honestly, and let Adam and Malone take over. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Great. Can you see my slides and can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through great.
Okay, awesome. My name is Adam. I'm joined by my teammate Malone, and we're from mint.fun. And we thought we would tell you why we built mint.fun, and then show you the product, and then give you a peek under the hood, how we built it. And then if there are any questions, we could take them. So I'll start. So mint.fun is a Web3 service for minting the top new NFT projects, and to be able to do that from a single interface. So it's essentially a primary market aggregator. And if you have heard that we're in a bear market in crypto, that's certainly true. However, if you look at minting data, that is the number of mints per month on Ethereum over the last 10 or 11 months, you would not detect a bear market. Minting continues to grow and grow quickly month over month. So even though we've seen slowing in other parts of crypto, the volume of mints every month continues to go up and up and up. And yet there are like some fundamental challenges and problems around minting still that we sought to solve with mint.fun. And namely, there are three problems. The first is figuring out what to mint. So in a universe of 10 million things being minted a month, which is roughly where we are now in terms of individual items, far fewer projects, but still thousands and thousands of projects, discovering those that are interesting and discovering them in time to mint them is a challenge. Second, determining which of those new projects is safe to mint also poses a big challenge, especially when the volume is so high and you have to move quickly to jump into mints before they sell out. There's a risk that you would be susceptible to minting a project that might be trying to phish your wallet or might be stealing someone else's artwork, and then you've paid either gas or a minting cost to artwork that is licensed elsewhere. And there are other various attacks or risks that you have to mitigate. So figuring out whether something's safe to mint is really difficult still. And then finally, just knowing how to mint a project that you discover and want to mint isn't always easy. Sometimes you have to go to Etherscan and decode a contract, find the instructions on Twitter, and put in the right kind of sequence of commands to mint the project. Other times, you'll end up on a project website for that NFT collection. And no two project websites are the same. So they're usually straightforward, but oftentimes just figuring out exactly how to jump through the hoops necessary to mint could cost you the ability to mint in terms of time. So these are like kind of three fundamental challenges. And with mint.fun, we're trying to solve all of them in a single tool. And this is why we call mint.fun a mint aggregator. And we were the first product that did this, that sort of aggregated every new project, every new NFT project that's minting now in a single service that you could mint from. So number one, like figuring out what to mint is easy on mint.fun because we present a ranked list of the top projects that are minting now, ranked by how popular they are based on how quickly they're being minted and how many people are minting them. So it's like a leaderboard of live top projects that you can see at a glance. Two, determining whether it's safe to mint is simplified because we run a set of automated safety checks on every single project. to see whether, for example, the contract is verified on Etherscan and a host of other things. And we let our community of minters flag projects for a variety of other issues. And when we see those flags, we incorporate them into our score. And all of that safety data is shared back to the community in real time. So you know on the interface level whether something is suspect and you should proceed with caution. And then 3, when you're ready to mint, if you've discovered a project that you're excited about, feel safe, you can mint from mint.fun itself. You don't have to leave mint.fun and go to Etherscan or go to even the project site to mint. And we do not, this is not because we've minted a bunch and we're reselling. We don't introduce any additional fees. I'll leave it to Malone to tell you a little bit more about how that works under the hood, but suffice it to say for now that you can mint from mint.fun and it's the exact same transaction as if you were on the project site or on Etherscan. So with that, I'll just show you the product working live. So here we are in mint.fun. This is the homepage.
You can't see your
okay, thank you. Let me do a new share. Over here. Can you see the site now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So here we are on mint.fun. So this is the homepage. I'll refresh it. And you'll see it's, like I described, a really straightforward leaderboard of projects minting now and ranked by popularity. So this is how many mints in the last hour. We also incorporate some other metrics like how diverse the community is in terms of number of wallets and so on. So this one, Mudcats, it's at 274 mints in the last hour. There's also 6 transactions currently in the memory pool. So this is like very much happening now. I'll go ahead and mint one of these. You'll notice when you click mint now, we present to you several options. These are all the options we've identified for minting the project. I'll go ahead and mint one item for free. I'll try that first. And I'll just be paying gas here, just under $4. And while that transaction is pending, I'll just go to this project page and show you a little bit more about what we do. So in addition to the various options that we present, we aggregate all the metadata we can find on the project so that at your fingertips, you can learn as much as possible before you mint. Of course, I didn't do that. I just went ahead and minted it, but there's no safety warnings. If there was one, you would have seen that. So you can see that the first mint happened very recently, a day ago. So this is a new project. So far, 496 items minted and 226 unique minters. You always want to check unique minters to make sure it isn't a bot or a small number of people minting everything. We also aggregate the project website. So if you did want to go mint directly on the site, you can do that here or learn more about them on Twitter. Go check out their Etherscan contract or OpenSea. And we also show you the velocity, the speed at which it's minting, which if it's a multi-day or multi-week mint, you would see a sort of flatter curve, but here very steep, obviously, because it's a very popular project. And then we show you the top holders, the top minters. So probably someone affiliated with the project already minted 200, but others minted 10 and down the line. So finally, like I mentioned, you can report an issue. So had you been suspect of this, or if you had minted and then had a bad experience, you could come here and say, look, this contract has an issue, or this is someone else's artwork, or I know this team and it's questionable, and you could explain the issue. And we review those and then automatically incorporate based on certain rules we have. So that is in a nutshell how mint.fun works. You can tweet the mint if you want to tell people about it. I'll show you one more thing, and then we'll switch gears to telling you how we built this, which is a view called trading, which is really neat because we provide a leaderboard of not only what's minting now, but also what just minted. And so unlike other leaderboards that you might find on secondary markets like OpenSea or Gem, which are extremely valuable if you're buying and selling NFTs, this is geared toward answering questions like, for example, in the last 24 hours, which projects minted out the fastest, which is something called, we call that mint heat. So you could say, okay, well, what minted out really, really fast in the last 24 hours? And here you go. So if you haven't been browsing the website, you just want to see what really like popped off quickly, you can see that. And then you could also look across and see, some of them have some real volume as well going on secondary markets. Or if you wanted to see, forget how fast it minted out, just tell me in the last day, projects that launched in the last day, which of them are actually like getting traction on the secondary market. And you can see this one, Bebos. I don't know if it's Bibos or Bebos, but this is one we noticed yesterday, or I noted yesterday. And you can see almost 400 in ETH traded, not minted, but traded. So had you come to mint.fun yesterday and minted one of these for free, you would be in a nice spot right now because the floor price is actually quite high. So you could flip these now or hold on to them. And there's quite a bit of volume as well. So kind of just a neat view of what's happening that you can use to look at the performance of projects you've minted, or just kind of get a retrospective of things you might have missed. So I will pause there. And actually, I'll say one more thing, and I'm going to turn it over to Malone. The last thing I'll say is I've been describing this mostly from the perspective of users, figuring out what to mint, what's safe to mint, how to mint, and how mint.fun solves all of that for users. But what about for project creators? Like, how did Mudcats or MFers2 or Freebirds or TIFFbits or any of these other projects end up on mint.fun right now? And here's I'll answer that, but first I'll just point out, here's a couple of warnings. This one was reported by the community. This one's not verified in Etherscan. So this is examples of where you might want to proceed with caution a little further down the leaderboard right now. So, but anyway, how did these projects end up on mint.fun? Did they come to us and submit any information? No, actually, all you have to do to show up on mint.fun is be an Ethereum NFT contract and have a sufficient number of wallets minting your contract. And if you do that, we identify it automatically and we build this aggregated view. We build out these project pages for you automatically. We identify the options for minting automatically. So you don't have to do anything to get this automatic project site. Okay, so I will stop there, pause there. I'll turn it over to Malone to tell us a little bit more about like how we do this under the hood. And Malone, would you like me to like leave it on the site, or do you want to share your screen or just talk over the site?
That's fine. Yeah, so a bit under the hood. To start, I'm just gonna go over how it came to be and how we built the initial version. So this mint.fun originally started as kind of a hacked in prototype on context. And the way it worked initially was you'd go to somebody who minted something, an event on context where somebody minted a NFT. And then from that page, you could attempt to copy their specific transaction. And while it was fun to do that, it was still there's a lot of friction involved in finding what project to mint, and also finding the right, like sometimes this person's mint you'd be able to copy, but this other person's mint you wouldn't be able to copy. So it was a lot of like, you'd have to be searching around for the right transaction to copy. So then what evolved from that was, okay, well, fundamentally how mint.fun works is we look at transactions on Ethereum that results in a minted NFT, and a minted NFT being a transfer of an ERC 721 or 1155 from the 0 address to a different address. And if a transaction does that, we then go and say, this transaction is likely a mint transaction, and let's try to copy it. And so then the next step with mint.fun was, instead of copying specific people's transactions, is we aggregated them by contract. So we would see all of the different function calls that people were making, or transactions that people were making for a given contract. And then the next step on top of that was, okay, well, how can we filter out ones that don't work? And the way we do that is we would estimate the gas that it would take to complete the transaction, which is basically how expensive is the transaction going to cost based on the code that they wrote for this function. And if you try to mint and the mint will fail, the gas estimation will also fail. They'll say, I can't estimate the gas because it's not going to work. So we have this list of transactions for a contract. Then we try all of them and say, do any of these work and do they mint an NFT? And if they all do, or the ones that do, then we show those on the contract page. And then separately, we have like the feed aspect to it, which is more of a data than a Ethereum problem necessarily. And that we have a couple different attributes in there, but it's basically like what projects in the past hour are minting very quickly and being minted by a lot of different wallets. So then that's a separate issue from actually how do you copy a mint from somebody else. And by depending on the transactions themselves, instead of having to look up an API on Etherscan and using their API for that, it lets us show a lot more projects than a lot of these other mint aggregators that have come along, because we don't need to, the contract doesn't even necessarily need to be verified for us to let you mint if that is your prerogative. Although it is generally more suspicious if a contract is not verified, but you are still able to because of the way that we aggregate all of the mint transactions. Yeah, so that's how the copy mint from the transactions work. And then as Adam was saying before, we show if a contract isn't verified. That data we're pulling from Etherscan, we're seeing is it verified or not, just as a signal for a contract being suspicious or less suspicious. But we don't use that data in terms of actual product. That's purely a like safety thing. Yeah, so another aspect of how did we get this data aggregated is we used a indexer that we've built in-house, which we plan on open sourcing. And basically, we just, as I said before, we look at all of the transactions. If it resulted in a mint, then we copy all of the transaction data and put it into a database. So I think some tips slash like starting point for anybody that would want to do something like this, or just generally a project in the space. Ethers is probably like, I mean, basically any project that you're going to do involving Ethereum is going to have ethers. And I built the initial version of mint.fun, or not mint.fun, of the prototype using purely ethers. There was no backend at all. I was just looking at the transaction, copying it, swapping out some addresses in the call data, and then doing that. So ethers was amazing for prototyping, and we still use it for actually sending the transaction. And then some other libraries that were crucial were WAGMI has great hooks for React that helps us like move a lot quicker and not have to worry about dealing with the wallet states. And then also we use a modal library so that we don't have to worry about connecting all the different types of wallets. That's all abstracted for us and taken care of by RainbowKit or ConnectKit. Any of these libraries that hook into WAGMI are really great and saved us a lot of time in getting that first prototype out. Yeah, I think that's basically my spiel.
Yeah, so that's all we have. We can wrap it up here, or if there are any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Amazing. Let me just check. I know we have about a dozen people watching on YouTube actually. So I just want to check the YouTube chat real quick to see if there were any questions. But otherwise, no, this is great. I also love the design for this, by the way. Just like looks like perfect, like playful / like all the utility is there at the same time. So this is nice.
Shout out our teammate Jesse, JP. Awesome job on that.
Yeah, it looks awesome. All right. Well, yeah, it doesn't look like we have any questions from the YouTube chat, but yeah, like we have about a dozen people watching on YouTube. So hello, YouTube. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining in for this one. Yeah, maybe we wrap it up here.
Great. Please subscribe, buy our merch. Trying to get to 100 million subscribers. So
yeah. Subscribe, buy the
subscribe.
merch, take over the world, send social media profile passwords, etc.
Actually, on a serious note, if you are interested in the project, our Twitter is mint.fun. So at mint.fun, mint.fun. Feel free to DM us any questions, feedback. We would love to hear from you. So that's where you can reach us. Thanks to Zora.
Awesome.
Thanks to Jacob and the team. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks so much. Yeah, appreciate it, Adam and Malone. Thanks for taking the time. We'll catch everybody back on the Discord. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Yeah.